It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by SureHold, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, SureHold has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. ShipShape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ShipShape means trouble-free. ShipShape means being neater. ShipShape makes boat work easier. ShipShape is the way to go. The ShipShape Boat Care Show.
ShipShape, America's favorite boat improvement show, is being brought to you in part by RPM Diesel Engine Company, so much more than an engine company, and by Boaterama, the Robin Hood of the boating business, bringing the rich sport of boating to the everyday man, and by Atlantic Boat Lifts, servicing South Florida for over 27 years.
Thanks for tuning in to ShipShape, the boat improvement show. I'm John Greviskis, and this is my partner, Burt Dell.
Howdy, folks.
As you recall, a few weeks back, Burt and I started the process of putting an engine bracket on the back of this 25-foot Whitewater.
We started off at Armstrong Nautical Products Factory and showing you how the bracket was actually built.
Then we de-rigged the back of the transom, clearing it out so that Tom at Armstrong could form a custom template to accommodate our unique curvature on the back of our transom.
While inspecting our transom to make sure it was strong enough to accommodate the bracket and both engines, we decided to lay out our boat a little differently.
We have a couple of oil reservoirs that we want to move forward to underneath the center console. We're going to put some insulated fish boxes in their place. Also, while we were in the bilge, we decided that a larger live well would make our boat fish a lot more efficiently.
Which brings us up to today, where we're going to be going over some fiberglass work and some different options we have when we go to re-rig our boat.
As always, if there's a suggestion that you'd like to see covered here at ShipShape, please write us a letter or send us a fax.
Write down your inquiries and send them to ShipShape TV, P.O. Box 31561, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, 33420. Or fax us your suggestions at area code 561-626-4348.
And guys, the really cool thing about writing into the show is that if we use your suggestion on it, we're going to send you out a free t-shirt right to your house. But right now we need to hear a word from our sponsors. But you'll want to stick around because in about 90 seconds when Burt and I come back, we're going to get into some fiberglass action.
Don't touch that remote. ShipShape will be back in a flash.
The SureHold Soft Brush. Perfect for use on boats, cars and trucks, decks and patios, and even windows. Specially designed split-end bristles hold more soap and water for effortless and effective cleaning. Built-in safety bumper protects surrounding surfaces from accidental damage. The included 48-inch threaded wooded handle is sturdy, lightweight, and strong. Proudly made in the USA, the SureHold Marine Mate Soft Brush is the worldwide standard in deck brushes. SureHold. Clean and simple.
Welcome back. Now, Burt, what actually are we going to be doing here today?
Well, John, we're going to be cutting out where our oil reservoirs used to sit in these little boxes here, and this is where we're going to be making our fish box. I'm going to go ahead and cut them out with a Sawzall, and then I'm just going to sand the edges down nice and smooth.
So you're actually going to be doing a little bit of grinding here?
I'll be grinding this whole area, actually.
Now, what's the importance of that?
Whenever you do fiberglass work, you want to prepare your area. So you go ahead and you sand it down, get it nice and smooth, get all the impurities out of here.
And that gives it a real nice bonding surface?
Yes.
Now, what kind of tips would you give people on clothing?
You'll definitely want to wear some long clothes because the itch factor is way up there.
Now, what about safety equipment?
You want to wear a dust mask and some safety glasses.
Well, let's get into today's project.
There's several different tools you can use to cut fiberglass with, such as an air motor with a carborundum bit, or you can use electrical power tools, such as a skill saw, saber saw. We're going to be using the sawzall. You also want to remember to have safety glasses on and use a good quality desk mask, such as this 3M brand.
And remember, guys, a lot of people like to do this project in their backyards. So if you have any observers like your kids, make sure that they're upwind. Bert, that box looks like it's part fiberglass and part wood. I'm seeing some sawdust coming up.
Oh yeah, this is a laminated part. You know, they just lay the glass up over the plywood. It's basically a lot of your boats now are going to foam,
right?
But when the plywood when it stays dry, like these stringers, as long as they don't get saturated with glass laid over them, they are super strong.
And they'll last forever.
As long as you keep them dry.
Now that we have the boxes removed, it's time to start the grinding process. Again, it's a good idea to stay upwind whenever somebody's grinding around fiberglass. That dust will get on you and it will itch. Well, what we've done is we've taken a little break from the grinding process in order to make a custom drain tube for the bottom of our bilge. What I've got here is a 3.5-inch outside diameter PVC pipe. I've gone ahead and cut it to length, and I've split it in half to give us a custom drain tube. Let's take a look at how it fits in the bottom of our bilge. Bert, is that going to work?
John, I think it's going to work perfectly. We'll be able to drop our 2 bulkheads in. It'll have our boat drain very nicely, you know?
Hand that back up. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and make our forward bulkhead with the PVC pipe, using it as a template. What we're using here is 1/2-inch plywood for our forward bulkhead. I'm laying it out, and we've got 24 inches in between our stringers. So I've measured out 24 inches across. It's also 24 inches deep. Now what I've done down here is I've used our PVC pipe as a template. We're going to cut around this so it'll fit real nice and snug. Also, we've got some unique curvature going on the bottom of the hull, so I've just kind of free-handed this out. What we're going to do is rough it in, and we'll make it perfect when we do the glass layup. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put us a couple of pilot lines here, so we can just go ahead and cut this out. Whenever you're dealing with cutting circles or arches or anything like that, it's always a good idea to do this. It's really no big deal. Just cut out a few to help take a little bit of the stress off the blade. Now let's see how our bulkhead fits. Bert, why don't we go ahead and put our drain pipe in?
Okay.
Now again, any void that we might have between our stringers and our bulkhead is really not that big of a deal because we're going to fill it in with Cavasil.
All right, John, that looks like it fits nice. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and start waterproofing this bulkhead. You cut us another one.
Sounds great. You know, a lot of businesses have been around for a long time, but they haven't quite made it until they advertise on TV. TV gives a business credibility, respect, and a largeness that no amount of square footage can match. You know, there are lots of reasons to advertise on TV, from selling more products to giving your employees a boost in self-esteem. TV is the way to go. And the way to reach the boating community on TV is by advertising on ShipShape TV. This show reaches millions and millions of homes right here in Florida. Call area code 407-626-1439 now, and we'll show you just how affordable TV can really be. Give us a call today.
Well, now we're ready to do our glass layup here. I've got us a 16 ounces of resin. I'm going to put about an 1/8 ounce of hardener in our resin. Go ahead and mix it up. This way it'll kick off. It's going to kick off rather quickly in this hot sun anyway. All right, John, I think I got the board covered fairly well.
Let's go ahead and lay this down, huh?
Right on top of it.
Okay.
Pull it to you just a little bit.
Okie dokie.
Again. Yeah, just a little bit.
How's that?
All right, that's good. That's plenty good right there.
So what, you're just rolling the resin right into the fiberglass?
You may remember doing basically about the same thing when we did Jupiter 31, me and
Right,
Nick.
when we were making the hatch.
Right, it's the same principle. Doing the same thing basically.
Well, Burt has quite a bit of glass work to do here at the boat. While he's doing that, I'm going to head on over to Boat Owners Warehouse and speak with our friend Larry Cooper. We want to look at some trim tabs as well as hydraulic steering and throttle controls because we're going back 30 inches. Good morning, Larry. How have you been?
Morning, John. How you doing this morning?
Real good.
What project are you guys working on today?
We're putting a bracket, an engine bracket, on the back of a 25-foot Whitewater. And we need to look into some options that we might have in the re-rigging process. You know, Larry, we're adding about 30 inches to the back of our boat, and so we're going to need to extend the lines and cables. I was wondering if you had any ideas.
Sure. I'll just show you what's new that's on the market, and we'll take a look at that and see what we need.
Sounds great.
Okay. John, there's 3 types of steering systems that I'm going to tell you about. First, we have the rack and pinion system, which is a flat bar with a small tooth gear on there.
Okay.
That runs back and forth, and it's a push-pull system. And then we go from there, we'll go up to the rotary system, which is a small, round spiral cable that runs through this large gear, moved by the small gear, which is operated by the...
Just going back and forth.
Right. It's also a push-pull system.
Okay.
And
Now, what's the third choice that we
third
have?
choice is going to be hydraulic.
All right.
Okay.
Now, that's what we've taken off the boat. We took off the Teleflex version of hydraulic. What's that called again?
It's called Sea-Star.
Okay, that's Sea-Star. What are some other companies that you have?
There's Hynotic
Okay.
that's in there.
So you basically have those two. Price-wise, what are we looking at for, say, the rack and pinion?
Rack and pinion is going to run around 200 to 250.
Okay.
And the rotary system will run you for a complete package that they have out, run you probably around 160.
Okay.
And hydraulic, depending on how it's set up and how many motors you've got on the boat, is going to run between $600 and $700.
Well, we'd probably like to go with what we took off the boat, which is the hydraulic. But when we get back into the other situations, when you're looking at your motor, is there any horsepower involved?
Yeah, on your smaller systems, you want to run maybe a single 200, 225. Cable system, you can get up, or the rack and pinion, excuse me, you can get up to a little larger horsepower on, or smaller twins.
Okay.
And then hydraulic will cover pretty much everything thereafter.
I've got you. Well, we'd like to look at some of the choices that we have in throttle cables. Can you help us out there?
Sure. Hey, John, these are the different choices we have in cables. We have Morris, we have Teleflex. There's a bunch of little companies besides that.
Now, are they pretty much the same, Larry, or do they have their unique characteristics?
Most of them, as far as the physical aspect of them, will look the same, as long as they're in the same series. Some of them have different features on them. Morris makes one that's called a Supreme cable, which is like a 33C.
Right.
Except it's Teflon coated inside. It's more for like dual stations, long runs, and it moves a lot easier than like these standard cables will.
Now, when you're talking about the Teflon, does that help in any of the salt corrosion when you're out on salt water?
A little, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're looking at the control here, Larry, can you put different, could you put OMC or Teleflex or Morse up to your control?
Sure, they have adapter kits to do that, and they'll all interconnect in there. You can even use the larger series that they make out for the heavier motors and gears will go on that same control.
I've got you. When you're looking at the cables, though, Larry, are you looking at a certain, like, price per foot, or is it a package situation?
No, they're a package system. They'll start out maybe around $18 or $19, and they'll go up from there.
In our particular application today, dollar-wise, what are we looking at?
I would say probably around $26 to $30.
Can you show me some trim tabs?
Sure, I have a display over here. We'll go take a look at that. John, on the Armstrong bracket that you're putting on, does that extend the running surface of the boat at all?
No, Larry, they angle the bracket up so when you're backing down on a fish, the back of the boat kind of raises to keep your transom dry.
Okay, so I guess we're definitely going to need trim tabs on
Absolutely.
there.
Now,
Okay.
what do you recommend?
Here we have the Instant Trim by Boat Leveler.
Mm-hmm.
They're an all stainless tab with stainless hinges. The pump is on the inside the boat, and the hoses will run through the transom to that pump, and then your your switches will be up on the instrument panel.
Okay. Now, Larry, why would somebody want to go with trim tabs?
There's a couple different reasons. One of them is that they will trim the boat out, get it up on plane quicker. It will give you a smoother ride and also better fuel economy.
Okay, that's real important. Now, what about ballast?
Ballast, we can do that too, because we can move the planes individually.
Okay.
We can move one side down, or we can move the other side up.
Well, that's a real nice feature. Price-wise, what are we looking at for the trim tabs, Larry?
On a set like this here, we're looking at around $350 to $400.
A wise investment. Now, Larry, you've really given us some options today on the re-rigging of our boat. I can't thank you enough for being on the show. We'll see you soon.
All right, John, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chapman's Corner is brought to you by Chapman School of Seamanship.
Today on Chapman's Corner, we want to talk to you about state registration numbers. As you can see here, this vessel has Florida state registration numbers. The first two letters indicate the state in which it's registered in, followed by a series of numbers, followed by another set of letters. Every vessel in the state of Florida is required to have these state registrations unless your vessel happens to be documented. In the case of this boat, the minimum size of the lettering and the numbers is 3 inches, and it also must contrast the back color of the hull. In this case here, we've got black letters on a white hull, easily seen. These numbers and letters are found on both the port and starboard bow of the vessel. Also notice on the port side here, we have our state decal. This decal is good for 1 year and must be reissued every year in June. From Chapman School of Seamanship, this is Tom Dante.
No, you don't have to adjust your television sets. We are at Boaterama, and I am with Carlos Ruiz, and we are on a 47-foot Bayliner motor yacht. Carlos, this is a spectacular boat.
This is a beautiful boat, John. We're very happy. This is the 4788.
Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that say, Bayliner, motor yacht. Well, what are
I
you
hear
talking
that
about?
all the time. They said, do Bayliner build that? Yes, we do. We have motor yachts from 33 to 57.
That's unbelievable. We happen to be on the 47-foot Bayliner motor yacht. Carlos, can you tell us a little bit about this boat?
Sure. This is, matter of fact, this is the first 97 out. We just received it a couple
So
days ago.
you're getting first glimpse at this stuff.
Okay, this boat is equipped with a twin 315 Cummins diesel engines.
Now those are good powered engines. Cummins is a good brand, but there's a lot of horse there.
It is. This is like a 27-mile-an-hour boat.
And
For a boat this size, this is a motor yacht. It's a home.
it moves. Now this boat has 3 staterooms, and they're very spacious.
3 staterooms, 2 bathrooms, big pilot house, big, you know, everywhere you look is comfort.
Absolutely. Bayliner has really built comfort into this boat, the plush carpeting and the teak decks. What I really like is I like that forward stateroom with that big island bed. You have cedar-lined closets.
What they did is that it's 6 foot long, so you can lay comfortable in your bed like if you're at home.
Absolutely. They want you to feel like a gentleman when you're on the boat. Let's talk about some of the other amenities. Now, I noticed that this boat comes with washer and dryer.
This one I have equipped generator, air, washer, dryer, comes with bimini top,
Trash compactor, island kitchen,
microwave. I mean, we can go on and on and on, John.
Absolutely. We only have a few minutes, but we want to get you kind of licking your lips and saying, wow, this is really a great boat. They'll really be licking their lips when they hear the price. Let's talk about price on this big 47-foot motor yacht.
This 1997 4788, we have it for $389,000.
That is a very fair price. trust me, folks, I've been out there and I've looked at some of these models, and you're looking to spend a lot more for not a whole lot more boat at all. This is a very well-equipped boat. This is the boat you might want to think about getting into. Let's talk about Boaterama. You're the home of the big boat show with no admission price, Carlos. You have 3 locations, 72,000 square feet of air-conditioned comfort. You believe in comfort. You believe in treating the customer right. You guys have been around for 40 years.
40 years.
They call you the Robin Hood of the boating business, bringing the rich traditions of boating and that sport of boating to the everyday man. Exactly.
And it's true, John. As you know, our commercials with you, that we give our discounts. We use those discounts for down payments. We work with the customers. We try to give you something that you can enjoy and you can afford at the same time.
Trust me, you can afford and you can enjoy this kind of boat, but we need to know how to get to Boaterama. How do we find you?
Okay, this boat is at the Miami store, 135th and Biscayne, but you can call me at my store.
Now that's 954-854-4700. And now you have the other 2 locations. Tell us about those 2 locations.
Pompano is in Federal and miles north of Copens.
Miles north of Copens, right on Federal Highway.
Right.
US 1, okay.
We got, the Fort Lauderdale store, that 584-4700.
Right, and that's on 441 in between Griffin and 84. And State Road 84. Well, come by the Miami location, look at this new 97 Bayliner motor yacht. You'll be glad you did.
The first one out.
Carlos, we'll see you next week.
Thank you, John.
We've talked about a lot of things on this show, like how to navigate an inlet, or how to mix resin for a fiberglass layup, and even how to prepare for a hurricane. But how about preparing your business for new customers, or keeping current customers loyal? There is no better way to reach the boater than by advertising your marine-related business on this show. Call me right now at area code 561-626-1439. We'll prove to you just how affordable and how effective ShipShape TV can be as a marketing tool. Call me again at area code 561-626-1439 now. You'll be glad you did. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. As you can see, fiberglass work is really no big deal.
And be sure to tune in next week when we go ahead and hang the bracket on the boat and rig it out.
Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. ShipShape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ShipShape means trouble-free. ShipShape means being neater. ShipShape